All right, welcome back to another daily trade review on MNQ. This is for again yesterday's trade. I'm going to start doing it daily. So on the day that I trade on, I would do it after the trading session. I just wasn't able to do it yesterday, so we're going to do it today. Yeah, to be honest, today was not today. Yesterday was a very, and when I say yesterday, by the way, I'm talking about the 19th of August. Yeah, it was a long trading session. We didn't actually we took a trade, but it was break even. So no wins, no losses. Honestly, in terms of price action, it was really, really nice. Like I really thought we had some good price action today. We had good targets, good draw on liquidity, and price really did, honestly, like everything I'd want it to do in terms of matching our draw on liquidity and trading up towards it, etc. But we just weren't able to get any good setups. Well, we did get a couple good setups. Well, we did get one good setup here and then one here. This wasn't as good just because later on into the day we get this really horrible chop, which is always expected after 11. So yeah, we're gonna get into it going into the day. Let's bring the replay back a little bit to 9:30 and just speak about what I was seeing. So on the 4 hour, let me get rid of these drawings quickly. So on the 4 hour, very clearly we have this 4 hour bearish gap above, and you can see we're displacing quite heavily. We've got this high resistance highs above, which I'm not necessarily thinking we're going to keep rejecting and keep pushing down. If we go on the weekly, you'll see that we are actually respecting this bullish weekly gap, of course, after trading down on on Tuesday. So today I'm kind of looking for a expansion up after rejecting that and at least going and getting into this 4 hour gap right here and trading into that. So that's going to be my first main draw on liquidity to the bullish side of the market. On the 1 hour, we've just we're kind of sweeping all this liquidity here. So we're currently trending upwards. It looks like we're coming for a little retrace down, opening up this 1 hour on NQ. Again, 15-minute gaps. Initially, we have this 15-minute condition that we already tapped into and we're rejecting off of. So really what we're looking for is, we're looking to be bullish, right? Starting the day off, we're looking to be bullish. On market open, the most ideal situation would be that we open, bear with me. The most ideal situation would be that we open lower, right? Maybe tapping into a higher time frame condition and then trading that up towards the 4 hour gap, right? That's like the best case scenario in my opinion. We actually got something similar, except we ended up just displacing a lot further down. Before we get into what happened on market open, on ES at market open, as you can see, we were actually rejecting off this 4 hour gap on ES, which led me to believe that there is a higher chance we will displace down quite far before we then trade back up, just because on ES we have that SMT with the 4 hour gap. So that is a bearish SMT for us. So on market open, you can see we actually do that. So we open lower, and we actually didn't complete this due to swing. I know a lot of people really wanted to see that, but yeah, we didn't actually end up completing that. So we ended up just displacing down. And for me, there really wasn't anything on the way down, like 100%. I wasn't looking for anything, to be fair. We started to create this 15-minute gap. So maybe looking for a continuation down lower, and my draw on liquidity to the downside with this daily internal low. So I'll show that on daily time frame. You can see this protected low here, which is if we are going to be bearish for the day, that is going to be my target. Until we see signs of bullish price action, that would be our target. My bias hasn't necessarily shifted at all at this point, so I'm still bullish. However, I just don't feel confident taking any longs at the moment until we have more confirmation that we are kind of finally gonna end up going back up to that 4 hour gap. So I'm still convicted in a bullish bias, especially after we weren't able to catch anything on the way down. I don't want to try to catch a falling knife and try to take a reverse all the way up. However, if we do keep respecting, I think I was waiting for a certain Yeah, so exactly here. So I was waiting for this to close. So if we were to close inverse through this 30-minute bearish gap and this 30-minute bearish gap, if we were to do that, then I'd be more inclined to take shorts. However, we did sweep all this liquidity here, so it's still hard to take shorts. And to me, honestly, it just didn't really make sense for us to go all the way down to this daily internal low. So honestly, I was already in for a long day. I already thought, yeah, I'm going to probably be on the chart for a while, which I ended up being on the charts for a while to around 4:30 London time. So if we keep playing price, you'll see we ended up just respecting bearish until we finally got the kind of, you know, the little retrace back up to the upside, which I was waiting for, and I was right. I just did not see us going all the way down to that daily internal low. So that's exactly what we wanted to see. So now at this point, I'm literally just looking for a continuation model to the upside. Initially, I want to wait for this 15-minute gap to properly inverse and show us signs that we aren't going to respect that and continue to trade lower. So I'm really just waiting for that opportunity. And then we finally got our first opportunity for a long right here. So I'll explain to you now why. So you can see here we had this 5-minute gap form. So I'm looking for a 5-minute continuation just because we do not have any higher time frame conditions. So we have this 15-minute that hasn't fully been opened up yet, as you can see, and we have this 10-minute gap. So we just tapped into this 10-minute gap and this 5-minute gap. So what I'm waiting for is a inverse. So we actually generated liquidity perfectly. So this is our accumulation, we got our manipulation, and I'm waiting for the distribution. So this is a perfect AMD model. And honestly, this would have been an A+ setup in my eyes, just because we have a very clear drawn liquidity. In my opinion, we have this long wick here, but also we have the 4-hour gap that we were initially marked out for the day, especially after sweeping this liquidity. We even swept below some of these relative equal lows, and we just left this daily internal low as high resistance liquidity because, yeah, I just didn't expect us to go down and touch that. So really, really, really nice setup forming, a really nice potential here. However, you can see we just got really unfortunate with the way the next candle closed. As you can see, it didn't really give us any chance to get in. Obviously, this probably would have been available on the 30-second and 15-second time frame. However, I do not take trades on that time frame yet. I haven't done enough backtesting to be taking trades on the 30-second and 15-second. I'm not confident doing that yet. And I haven't purchased the flipping £60 a month membership because, again, I don't trade the 30-second time frame. So I don't feel the need to, but it is definitely something I will be looking to do eventually. But as you can see, really, really unlucky. Honestly, this would have been such a great trade to take. We would have obviously entered somewhere around here, stop loss at the lows, and honestly, the way I was feeling, especially coming into the day, my draw, I probably would have just targeted the highs. I saw the 4-hour gap, and it would have been a really, really nice trade. I saw another 4-hour gap, this 15-minute. This is a 15-minute open. I just definitely would have targeted that. Unfortunately, yeah, as you can see, we didn't get the close we wanted, and eventually we do end up hitting the TP eventually. But before we do, I'm going to show you this trade here. So this was our next. Again, I was really convicted, and I knew where price was going. It's just a case of finding a continuation setup to be able to get there. And yeah, next obviously we had this one. So again, we created this 5-minute gap, which I was kind of worried about taking this. So this setup wasn't as good quality as the last one, but because I was so convicted in where we were going and the drawn liquidity, it was just super obvious in my opinion. We could have waited for price to drop down into this 15-minute gap. However, I just didn't think we would. So we tapped into this 5-minute gap and we had a really nice rejection candles off of that. And if we go on to the 2-minute time frame, we're presented with a nice fair value gap. Sorry, there's sun reflecting onto my monitor. But yeah, you can see we have a nice fair value gap. So presented there. Enter on the close. But unfortunately, this actually got stopped out at break even. Let me actually bring price back a bit so I can explain to you why we've gone break even here. So on the 1 minute, if you have a look, first of all, like the price action was not actually that bad. Let me go back a bit further, just so you guys can see what I was thinking when I took this trade. So you can see the entry here on the 1 minute actually does look pretty clean, right? We have a really nice rejection off that 5-minute gap, right? We have a CISD right there, as you can see. So again, we have the inversion and the CISD. So it's actually really good entry conditions. We also have really nice volume going through that and a really nice up close candle. So it's actually a really good entry in terms of the conditions. However, if we play price kind of slowly here, you'll see that we just started to chop a lot. And this typically happens after 11 a.m. New York time, where we just start to kind of chop a bit, you know, especially when price has displaced, you know, from New York Open, we've displaced down around 300 points and then moved back up into the 50% zone, which is, you know, I'm not surprised at all. I just still thought we could salvage something. But yeah, if you can see here, we're just kind of trending around the 50% zone and just started to accumulate quite a bit. So what happened there initially, my break-even point would have been at this high. However, we kept accumulating. We didn't actually tap it. Or did we actually? Wait, hold up. No, we didn't. And then we ended up basically going down, almost hitting our stop loss. And I think I remember just going break even. So after we, to be fair, I can't really remember where I went break even. Now that I think about it. I can't remember. It might have been on the 2 minute. But I think after we started accumulating like this, I think after we came back above around here, I think I went break even at one of these highs because I was not confident at all the way we were displacing and just accumulating around. And then, yeah, we ended up stopping out a break even, which saved us from a loss. And the main thing here for me as well is just to kind of understand that if we did, I can't really see anything. Hold up. Yeah, this trade would have been the one for me, honestly. I don't believe it would have been break even up to this 15-minute gap. Probably would have chilled our stop loss anyway. This would have been break even if we, you know, didn't get out at 1-to-1. But again, this is why I've been taking a lot of 1-to-1s recently. I spoke about that last video as well. But I think eventually we did end up going up and hitting that 15-minute. Yeah, we did. So there we go. And then if we just play out the rest of the day, what did we do? Because I think I hopped off on this time, so I don't really actually know what we did, and we just started accumulating. So I'm actually going to go to the 1 hour just to fully see what we did. All right, here we are. So again, we just ranged. So going into today, it's probably going to be the same thing, honestly. But yeah, like you said, we didn't actually end up hitting that 4-hour gap, and we just started to accumulate here, which is what we're going to be looking into going into today to maybe still continue up to that bearish 4-hour gap. So yeah, that's it for today. No trades, but it's not a problem. I did like the bias, I like the idea, I like my analysis, and I think yeah, it's good to not take a loss on the day, even though we were technically wrong with bias because we started dumping down. I mean, even though my bias still is bearish, you have to understand that price will do its own thing no matter what, and you have to be able to kind of adapt to market conditions depending on what they give you. But yeah, that's it.